So today going to look at how to make lighting movies for a DMX lighting system. So the first step is using the program After Effects, which I have installed here. So I'm just going to open that up and take a second or two to load. So what you might want these films for is if you want a lighting pattern based around a colour and some movement. There's various ways that you can do it, and also various patterns and colour schemes that you can use. So I will be using a setup based around a 4 pixel by 9 pixel lighting system, which basically equates to a 4 lights by 9 lights system. So as you can see, I've got a pattern here, and along here all the effects that I've used to do it, which I'll walk you through. But just to give you a quick preview, so if we click play, it will go through, and as you can see there's some movement there with some kind of blue, bit of white, some grey. It's quite a nice subtle movement, so nothing too abrupt. So we'll show you quickly how to do this setup. So we'll just stop that. We'll do File, we'll do a new project, and what we need is a composition for our After Effects project. We'll do new composition, and we can go to, so if you've got say more lights, wider or a longer lighting rig, you can change the width and the height of this, but we're going to keep it at 4 by 9 for now, just to give you an example. So this would be for 4 lights across by 9 lights down. So we'll keep that and click OK. So I want a new layer for our composition, so do new layer, we'll go for a solid and we'll click OK. So the effect I used, which can be found in the effects and presets section of After Effects. So we need to go down to, I believe it's generate, and we want a cell pattern, so you can drag that in. So at the moment it's just white. So what you want to do first is change your cell pattern. So I change it to use crystals, but you can use plates, static plates, things like that, depending on the effect that you're going for. But for now I'm going to go for crystals and crystals HD. So hit play, not much going on here. So we're going to go down to our evolution options and evolution setting. So what we're going to be able to see is our markers. So if we click on the little down arrow there, and then effects, cell pattern, then we've got evolution. If we make this a time vary effect, that gives us our keyframes. So we've got a keyframe there, go to the end and add another keyframe, and double click on the keyframe. If we add in say 10 revolutions, it will then cycle from the initial one, and as it goes through it will cycle all around. If you want it to end how it finishes, so at the moment it starts on that, ends on that, what we want to do is to say move our keyframe to roughly halfway, go back to the end and add another keyframe. So we'll select that, and then on the revolutions set that back to 0. That way it will end the same as it finishes. So it doesn't look like much and doesn't have much colour at the moment. So what we need to do is we need to go down to colour correction, and then there's one called colour armor. If you drag that in, it's got various colour presets under the output cycle. If you use a preset palette, you've got a huge selection. So if you did hue cycle, this will cycle through various colour hues. As you can see, you've got some blues, greens, yellows, reds, all sorts. It will cycle through all of these, and then when it gets to the middle one, and then it will go back to the start of it and look the same at the end as it does at the start. So that's the basics of it, and you can alter a few settings to make it a bit more appealing. So with our middle keyframe, if you wanted a slower evolution, you could change that to say 5, and it would take a kind of slower cycle as it goes along and goes through. Now it can be a bit blocky doing this, so what I found is, because your lights only have 255 steps generally if they're DMX lights, so what I've found works really well is on our blur and sharpen, and we've got the effect reduce interlace flicker, and on the softness setting for that, if we just drag that up to say 1, that helps just to take some of the jarriness off. If you want a bit more of a smooth effect, you can use box blur, and then on blur radius, if we change that to 1, it'll soften it up a bit more as well. So it's a bit of a smoother transition between colours, which means that hopefully your lighting won't have such a jarry effect to it. So that's the basics of doing a lighting movie that can be used with DMX lighting, and often also the program Max MSP. This can be really useful for doing lighting movies and kind of various effects where you're using the lighting rig. So really simple process to put together, and can have a really nice effect when used properly. So with 4 effects, we've managed to create a lighting film for a lighting rig of 4 lights by 9 lights. But as I said, if you're doing or using a system with more or less lights, alter the pixels, the dimensions accordingly. If you're using only 1 light, you could do something like this for that, but you would have to have a canvas or composition size of 1 pixel by 1 pixel, which may give quite a poor effect, but that would be something for you to have a try. And there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at this very short tutorial on how to do a lighting movie for DMX lights, which you can use with programs such as Max MSP. Cheers guys.